Thank you, Ranjit sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Moninder sir. Thank you so much for the brief introduction. Namaste to all of you, respected participants. Thank you for having me as a keynote speaker. The profile might be little intimidating, but I'm not a very sought for people because I can see the eminent panelists here who have so much of expertise in forensic science. So regard and respect to all of you. And thank you especially to Ranjit sir for organizing these kind of events, because this is now the need of the hour. Forensic is now one of the subjects which has been most important and talk over. My experience with LEA, that is law enforcement agencies, for almost 2 decades now, makes me advocate this and say this, that yes, we need more and more digital forensic experts, because as you have seen, the number of cybercrime cases in India have risen very high, especially post-COVID. And there was a recent PIL made on the cybercrime, National Cybercrime Portal, which said that from January 22 to May 23, there were 21 lakh complaints filed on the portal, which says that approximately 4,111 complaints per day. And these are all complaints. Let me correct, they are not FIR. And there was also analysis which was printed in the media, which said that only 2% of them are converted into FIR. My very close engagement with the various cyber cells which I have since 2008, whether it is UP, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, wherever I have given my trainings or I have worked with my officers, the challenge is my law enforcement officers are very fine and very good in extracting the logs, pinpointing the culprit, and even at far arresting them as per the IT Act. Now, where does the challenge come? The challenge comes when he is being put in the court of law and they have to present the digital evidence, and that is where we lack. So I think your training as a forensic science expert, especially when it comes to digital forensics, or I would say cyber forensics, has to be on a very strict protocol. And the first thing which you should understand is the admissibility in the court of law. Becoming a forensic expert by digging out information, everybody can learn that. You can use various tools or you can use your intelligence. I can find logs, I can find the IP, I can find the infected file, I can find the malware. But how do I produce it? How do I put it as a document? And how do I check the sanctity of that evidence when I put it in the court of law is very important. And as you must have seen, in the last few years, India has been blessed with national forensic science universities. We have now more than 12 79A approved labs, but there is still lack of manpower. Recently, Gujarat Forensic Science was declared as a 79A examiner, certified examiner, but that is not enough. The whole country needs more and more 79A certified examiners. Now, talking about LEAs. LEA started their cyber investigation with logs. Now, what were the logs? We were getting logs from telecom. We were getting logs from intermediaries. And we were producing 65B as for secondary evidence. And we were producing what? CDRs, IPDRs, TDRs, SDRs, and TLDs and ILDs, everything. So this was one aspect of digital footprint, what police was doing. So suppose somebody has committed a crime, we start with the IP investigation, we start with mobile investigation, we bring down logs, and we try to connect the dots. That person was available at that location, he spoke to that person. But now this telecom thing is fading out. Why? It has been taken over by internet. The communication is gone encrypted. The communication, now the criminal knows that my police knows surveillance. Thanks to all the beautiful press conferences being held and these beautiful TV series like Crime Patrol, now my criminal also is educated. He knows that if I'm using a phone, the police can track me down. So now he is using an anonymous Wi-Fi. He connects his smartphone to a dongle. He goes on an encrypted messenger and there he communicates with his colleagues and whatever criminals he wants to commit a crime. And here I'm not only specifying cyber crime, I am talking about any crime, whether it's a gangster, whether it's a murder, whether it's a kidnapping, or whether it's a dacoity or something. In every crime, digital footprint has become very important and again very challenging also for the law enforcement agencies. But their role finishes when they identify the culprit, they do a seizure. And now that is where a forensic expert has to come into play. How do I do a seizure? How do I seize his mobile phone, his laptop, his iPad, or even a smartwatch? Today, we have evidence in smartwatches also. We have evidence in drones. We have evidence in smart TVs, which are planted in your home. We have evidences in routers. We have evidences in small home devices like Alexa. And we have these smart cameras which are installed in various places. How do I secure that evidence? How do I put it on a document? This whole thing is missing. Why? I think there is a lack of upskilling here. We are being trained on FTK, we are being trained on UFED, we are being trained on Celebrite, we know how to extract. But when it comes to the practical field work, when I am arresting a criminal from a jungle, where I am arresting a dacoit from a jungle, and there I am seizing his mobile or whatever devices he has, and how it is transported to the lab, and how does the lab account it for? These are the gaps where what happens that these smart criminals, they get acquitted just because they are, the court says, lack of evidence or lack of presentation of evidence. So today, the biggest challenge we are facing in digital trails is that the crime has shifted to dark web very, very fast. We were not prepared for it. We were only thinking that this OTP fraud is happening in the country and somebody from Jamtara is calling. Now they are putting a malware in your phone. They don't need your OTP. That malware will extract your SMS, your contacts, and your photo gallery. The hacker is using data as a weapon, data weaponization. Late and good, we have the data protection bill now. When it will be enforced, when these data fiduciaries and principal will realize their responsibility, it's a long way to go. Where everybody's scared with the fine of 250 crores, but still today, the hacker has your data. They are inputting a malware in your phone. A victim came to my police station and complained, all my money is gone from my bank. I received 20 OTPs. I swear on God, I have not shared my OTP with anyone. Now, how does the investigation start here? You start writing mails to bank, you start writing mails to the merchants, you try to block the amount. Has anybody taken his phone? Has anybody checked his phone for the malware? What is the source of the malware? Where is the SMS getting forwarded? That is where the challenges are today. Today, the hackers are trying to access your remote device. They know the exploits. And you know where? Because there is something on dark web called HAS, hacking as a service. And it is now becoming prominent. There was a time when the funds used to travel in your bank accounts in any online fraud or any ransom. But today, it is traveling immediately into cryptocurrency. And now, if it is a cryptocurrency crime, again, it becomes a challenge for the LEAs. So these are the new challenges. And when we are talking of these new challenges, the forensic has to evolve. The forensic has to go beyond looking at files and recovering deleted files. Crimes are happening with AI today, and AI is not only assisting, but is also acting as a weapon. Recently, we heard a crime where somebody used a face swapping technique and he cheated his friend for 5 crore rupees. He used a voice changer, AI voice changer, and he used a AI face swapping technique. You all must be aware of the word deep fake. Now, I'm just giving you a very practical example, and especially in a country like my country in India, where we have issues which are very sensitive when it comes to viraling a content. Like recently, there were some riots in Haryana and everywhere, and you saw that we had to shut down internet. The reason was there was so much of viral content which was coming off border. It was not generated in the country. Now, who is there to analyze this content? How do I analyze videos and photos? These are the new challenges. How do I come to know the source? So, social media intelligence, cyber intelligence, it's all becoming a part of forensic science. So, let's not only focus on learning tools or extracting information or dead information from devices and data, but now we have to think way beyond. And keeping in mind SOP. I'm again very particular because I have seen cases getting spoiled. I remember one of my cases, which I was handling with UPSTF in 2016, where a big online Ponzi scam was busted. We followed all the protocols. We had a cyber forensic expert on the ground. We had live data, live capturing of forensics from the data centers. Everything was very well documented for, right from the COD, the chain of custody, right from your digital evidence form to the charge sheet. It was so very well pinpointed with each and every technical detail. Everything was video recorded with date and time stamp in presence of a forensic expert. This bad actor who was arrested was denied bail at every level. Nobody was there to challenge the digital evidence presented in the court of law. Why? Because the SOP was followed. So, to all the young enthusiasts who are listening to me and who are a part and who want to be, let me tell you this. I was recently a part of the Chandigarh cyber cell internship, and where we were blessed to have our Honorable Home Minister Amit Shah sir, who was there to felicitate, and he made a speech where he said, very soon they will be making it compulsory in the law for any crime which is having a punishment of 5 years to have a forensic expert tagged along. So now imagine if this kind of acts and rules are going to come in place, and that is why you see that now we have so many national forensic science university being tagged around in the country. We are trying to develop a huge human resource pool. But all dear enthusiasts, listen, you need to be practical. So I know we learn a lot of good things from our forensic experts in the labs and in the classroom, but going out in the field and doing some practical internship is very important. Understanding the LEA, because LEA is a very important part of the whole chain. If LEA makes a mistake, your all effort is gone in vain. If you get a phone which has been factory resetted or which was tampered by the IO himself, because he was naive, he was innocent, उसने मोबाइल पकड़ा और पकड़ के ऑफिस लाके उसने खोला और किसी वाईफाई से कनेक्ट करके चेक कर रहा था वो, बस he has tampered the evidence. आपके जो लॉग्स दिखाई देंगे, आपने अरेस्ट किया 27 तारीख को सुबह 10 बजे अपनी कागजों में, और मोबाइल दिखा रहा है कि 28 तारीख को भी चल रहा है, तो वो सामने वाला वकील तो कहेगा कि साहब दिस हैज बीन टेम्पर्ड, इसमें किसी ने कुछ डाला है. So what I'm trying to say here is that your symbiotic relationship with LEA has to be very strong. Your knowledge has to keep on seeping. You have to be present when there is a digital artifact being captured. You need to understand whether how to capture a laptop, a router. For example, you come to my place for a crime and you are not capturing my live router. You will not get any MAC IDs or the number of devices connected. And if you turn off that router, everything is gone. So these are the basic concepts of forensics which has to be trained. And remember, I have been working I did my forensic science in 2000. It's 23 years now. The only thing I was blessed is that I have been currently working with LEA, so that always gives me, and I keep updating myself. People, they call me expert, but I always humbly call myself a 23-year-old student in cybersecurity. There's so much to learn. And Nabi, recently, you have seen that the IPC, CRPC, and Evidence Act have been transformed into the Bharatiya Sakshata Bill and all. You have the Data Protection Bill out. So the laws are changing. and daily you are having a new input in forensics. AI committing a crime, who will you arrest? The computer, the algorithm, or the person who made the AI? So now these are going to be your latest challenges, and proving the artifact right or wrong. So yes, the latest challenges, what I see as on date, is the crime has evolved. It has gone up from hacking to dark web. It has gone up from IP address to Tor browser, onion routing. It has gone up from SIM card to virtual numbers. So now no hacker is calling you from a SIM card. He knows that SIM card can be tracked. He goes online, he generates a virtual number. We call it VoIP. And he always chooses a country where he can immediately change his numbers. He can change his OTPs. And you are getting messages sometime from a US number, from an Afghanistan number, or a Pakistan number. And these are the minor hurdles which the LEAs are facing. So now the log analysis is also upgraded. From CDR, IPDR, now we have gone to ILD and NLD. So now we don't stick to IPDRs and what you call CDRs. The first thing when I see a virtual number, I go for ILD. I go for NILDs and NLDOs. So these are the latest concepts and challenges we are facing. And yes, there are something which are making things very interesting. For example, the mobile app usage. Now, anybody installing a mobile app on your phone, you are leaving a footprint. Now, you have to be smart enough to identify the user, what all apps he has installed. Because so, there are two ecosystems which you can't ignore in the world. One is Apple and second is Android. And you will see that 80 to 90% of the users are consuming Android. If I am an Android user, I can't survive without a Gmail account. I have to have a Play Store ID to download any application on my device. And there are some artifacts like Android ID, device ID, GIA ID with the Google. Now, these are the technical things which always help us when it comes to an Android device used in a crime. So, and yes, of course, metadata, which has become very, very important these days, because anything you create, whether it is a file, I recently had a very challenging case of dark web. And this person was using Proton Mail to send some ransom emails to some person. And the only mistake he did was he attached a PDF file. And that PDF file was created on his system with a Word document, and he saved it as a PDF file. And from that PDF file, I was able to extract the metadata of the PDF file, which took me exactly to the culprit. So I was not hitting my head on those Tor browser IPs and onion routing IPs. I was hitting my head on the metadata. So participants, I think these are the things which has to be conceptualized, made strong. And yes, this I would say with my experience, and especially to all my young budding professionals, there is immense potential coming up, looking at the digital India, looking at 70 to 80 crore people on internet in my country, looking at the penetration of internet to the level that in the morning when I went out for my vegetable shopping after walk, there was a vendor with a thela. He was selling vegetables and he did not took cash. He said, give me phone pay or Google Pay. So this is where we are standing right now. So there is a transaction happening, and this digital transaction is called digital trail. How smart my investigator is to identify these digital footprints. My car cannot travel on the highway today without a FASTag, whatever car I'm using. So here, when I'm crossing a toll, I am leaving a footprint. So this is how footprints are being created. And a smart investigator is to identify these digital footprints. So with this address, I have just initiated the discussion. I know we have immense pool of experts present today to enlighten you with their knowledge. And thank you so much, Ranjit sir. I always appreciate your efforts for organizing such events, bringing such experts on the panel, because this is what my younger generation who are aspirants in technology to get exposure to. So thanks a lot. And thank you, Mohinder sir. Thank you so much. And all the participants, Have a happy Sunday and a knowledgeable sessions ahead. Thanks so much. Namaskar and Jai Hind.